folks. Grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents Tales of the Trophies, Best of the Rest, Season 5. I'm Mike with EJ. How's it going, pal?
I think the better question, the more important question is, how's it going for you?
I'm doing okay, man. I was like, I told one of my coworkers I'm like 80% of a person today. And they're like, well, that's like actually better than average. I'm like, yeah, on average, I'm like 50%. So like 80%, I'm 80% of where I normally am, which 50%. And then I was like, it's basically the Steiner math promo in wrestling, if you're familiar with that. And the one guy said, well, another guy wasn't familiar with it. There's like six of us on the call. And like people are joining in as we're having this conversation. And I like pull it up to send it to them, but it like auto played on YouTube for a second before I could like mute. I forgot I didn't mute my Zoom, so I went over and like muted it. But Steiner had kind of started. They're like, was that the promo?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just slacked it to you." So they enjoyed it. So Steiner Math. If anyone has not seen the Steiner Math promo, for I highly recommend it. It's hilarious. It is hilarious stuff.
Well, I'm
Anyways,
glad you're feeling better. It was one of those things where, it the stomach bug hit our two little kiddos, and you just know it's a ticking time bomb, right? Because then it's like, okay, well, I know I've shared food, I've
yeah,
shared drinks, given kisses, things
yeah.
like that, and you're just like, it's just happening. And for us, it was one of those things where we were kind of lucky that we at least got maybe like a half a day without both of us being sick.
Hmm.
But it was like the first time on one of the days where we were both like sick, and it was, that's hasn't
Oh
happened to
yeah.
us as parents yet, to both be dying and needing to take care of kids.
I honest to God, like, I mean, this was I have not had a sickness like this since a stomach flu like this since my senior year of high school,
Ugh.
and I went to the hospital because I could not stop like expelling liquids, and thank because I had to get anti-nausea meds, get an IV to get some like fluids back in me because I was starting to cramp up. I mean, this thing, just for everyone's aware, this hit me at 2 a.m. when my wife's out of town and my kids are, sleeping. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, and my in-laws are supposed to come over in the morning to help, because I was supposed to do a bunch of stuff around the house. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm like thinking through in my head, I'm like, when do I panic? Because I didn't know how bad it was going to be. I thought it was just, going to be like about 3 a.m. I started to think, oh, this is gonna be a problem. And then by 4 a.m. I'm like, this is bad news. I'm like, I'm gonna need to call at some point here. And I wait, I was like, I'll wait till 6 a.m. to call, or I was gonna wait till like 5:30 to call my in-laws because they're
Yeah.
normally up at that time anyways, and be like, hey, please get here as soon as possible because I'm gonna need you here for when the kids wake up. At 4 a.m. I was thinking too, I was like, maybe I can, like just keep them, like I'll just be laying on the ground in front of like my son's crib.
Right, right.
Like if he wakes up before they get here, like daddy's here, just, you
But you
know,
got to stay in here, bud.
you gotta stay there, bud. But but then by 5 a.m. I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, I need you here because I didn't have any anti-nausea meds in the house either.
Yeah.
And I needed that. So thank God my mother-in-law brought some over because like I just could not stop throwing up. So it was bad. My body started cramping up again. I was like, oh, that's probably more than the listeners want to know, but like it was your boy went through it. So here we are on Wednesday. That's why we're delayed because I was not close to ready until so. But I had a good long day at work, half day workshop, 8:30 to 1. It was supposed to go till noon, went till 1, and then all kinds of other shit afterwards. But we're feeling good after getting a ton of rest. So
There
feeling
it
good.
is. Can't keep them down.
Can't well, you can. You actually, as a matter of fact, can for a period of time, but not for long. Not for
Okay.
long.
Well, because of that, listeners, there's plenty to talk about. We're on a bit of a tight schedule today. So we promise next week's episode we'll do something fun. I had an idea for the rankings because now we're gonna get, weekly updates to these rankings, and they're gonna get interesting, just even from the perspective of like this week, just quickly, you don't have the group of five or even an ACC team in the 12. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that they would not be represented in the playoff because they do get their auto bids regardless of if they are in the top 12. But that was just kind of an interesting thing. I don't know that we've seen that yet since these rankings have come out over the last 2 years to see something like that. So yeah, we'll have something fun next week. It will
Well, there was an ACC team in the top 12 last week. Virginia was 14, right?
oh,
But
they were
like,
14. Okay, I
yeah,
wasn't sure.
yeah. But yeah, I mean the biggest I think, the biggest thing is, Texas Tech BYU, somebody to lose that game. It was BYU. Tech look, and that they should have won by they just kept kicking field goals. That could have been like 49 to like 12 at one point. Like it was
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, I mean the big news, UVA lost, and then I mean San Diego State had a chance to do the funniest thing ever and potentially have a Mountain West school. Because they don't have to take. That's one thing people forget. They don't have to take Power Four champions. They have to take the four, or what is it? They have to take the five highest ranked conference champions, which should be four from the Power Four
Hmm.
and one group of five. They don't. That is the rule states the five highest ranked conference champions. So there could have been a scenario where if San Diego State had gone undefeated and won the Mountain West, they could have taken them plus someone from the American and left the ACC champion out of the playoff. Like that was a scenario that could have happened, but San Diego State got knocked off in Hawaii, did not pass the Hawaii test. Uh, as many teams don't. But
No.
yeah, yeah. A little too much for the Aztecs. So
Okay, yeah. So we'll get into it a little bit more next week, and like I said, I have like a potentially like a fun little way for us to discuss it too, a little bit different than just giving our thoughts. And I mean, I guess depending on when we record again next week, um we probably won't have the next rankings out, but that'll be fine. We'll still have like, actually, it'll be kind of fun because we'll have this current rankings, but we'll have the results from the weekend, and we can
mhm.
kind of talk through maybe what we think will change and how much it'll change.
Yeah.
So I have that, and then just so that people don't think I'm dodging this, but I won't go too much into this. We can talk about it next week. Is yes, I am glad that the NCAA has found its backbone
Oh,
again,
that's right.
and
Yeah.
deservedly punished a school for completely cheating, and especially cheating in a way that affects the on-field product. And when they said earlier with other violations that they don't want to hurt the current students for past transgressions of the school, I definitely think it was appropriate to punish these kids having nothing to do with even past coaches,
Yeah.
almost two coaches ago,
Yeah.
considering an interim, versus the school that has currently still employed people from the violations. We don't want to hurt that school
Right.
at all.
No.
So, but yeah, so I'm glad the NCAA finally found their backbone again and are vacating wins. But I just will say they will never take away that 2022 Northwestern win from us. Okay, they're not going to take those 4 and 5 win seasons away from us. So,
They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it.
but I'll have plenty more to talk about next week
All right.
when it comes to that. So let's get right into our trophy here. So today's episode, we are talking about the Chief Caddo Trophy, which is a game played between the Northwestern State Demons, if you were wondering, and the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. Uh, do you have any guesses to what this Chief Caddo Trophy?
I'm be guess it's like, well, first off, I could not have guessed that Northwestern State was the Demons. I did not know that was their mascot. Steve F. Austin, I probably would have had some trouble. Maybe I eventually would have come up with the Lumberjacks there. But the trophy I'm guessing looks like Sweet Soup, as we've talked about in the past, or maybe yeah, not Sweet Soup, like Cigar Store Indian. I'm guessing is what it looks like, Native
Okay.
American. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. So, which is why I'm guessing much like last week, this I see why you laughed. Whenever I gave our sign off last week, I'm guessing this trophy's no longer in circulation or in use, but we'll see. We'll
We
see.
will
That's why
see.
that's why we listen to the episode, folks. So that's why we
Um,
listen
uh,
to EJ.
a little snapshot of this rivalry here. The first matchup was in 1924, and Northwestern State won that game 7-3, and they won 8 of the first 10 games between these two schools. And they do, in fact, lead the overall series, 45 wins to 29 losses and 3 ties. So let's do a little bit let's pivot to our little small school spotlight too, because one, I had no idea where either of these schools were located. And I think I left it there for Northwestern State, so we'll start there. Can you tell me how to pronounce that city? Actually, do you know which state that they're in?
Northwestern State, I don't.
Okay.
I would guess Oregon or Washington when I hear
Okay.
that, but I'm not sure.
Interesting. So where do you know where Stephen F. Austin is?
Stephen F. Austin, I believe, is Utah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, uh, given that logic, it would make sense for that for those because naturally, especially with a rivalry this old,
Or Steve F. Austin, Texas?
they're likely to be close to each other.
Yes. Yeah.
So Stephen F. Austin is in Texas,
Yes. Okay. It's in Texas. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Northwestern State is in Louisiana. So the northwestern part
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
of that
Okay.
state.
Okay.
Um, can you pronounce the city?
I
So I
shouldn't,
left it on there.
I thought that Steve F. Austin was in Texas. I pivoted because I thought Utah, because
Yeah,
I thought, Mormonism, but but I should have just went with my gut on Texas there. Can I pronounce what
the
this
city name. So that's what's next to Northwestern State in the
Natchitoches?
that's a great guess. I think what you're not considering is it's in Louisiana. So they're
It's
going to pronounce
French.
this Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches. Okay, Nacogdoches.
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 So Northwestern State was founded in 1884. I have like the phonetics here because where Stephen F. Austin is also named after. Well, I guess I'll get that in a little bit. It's also a very challenging word. So I'm going to have to say them a ton. So that's why I wanted to see if I was like had to do. I'm glad I did too because I would have butchered this the entire
Oh
time
yeah, yeah.
that I went to
Nacogdoches
like.
also sounds like something you do on a Saturday night. Little
Maybe
turtle
that
dovin,
does
little
happen.
Nacogdoches. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, So this school, Northwestern State, was founded in 1884 as the Louisiana State Normal School. There's so many normal, I can't normal schools.
Lot of
This is a teaching school, so for teaching training. And the site where Northwestern State now sits on what is called Normal Hill is noted as the oldest continuously occupied site for higher education in Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
lot of
Continuously
layers to that, but
occupied.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, continuously occupied. And the picture there is of kind of like the landmark. So one of the most visible landmarks on the campus is the 3 white columns, which are all remain of the original Bullard Mansion, which is on campus. So these have
Bullard.
kind of it's from so we're you're looking from more of a perspective of like the yard in between the mansion and the columns, so out towards like a front yard type deal. So the mansion is kind of not this close to where the camera is, but it's on that side of the camera.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so they've kind of become because it was an old school mansion that just kind of stayed on campus. These have kind of, you know, became a bit of these, symbolic on the school campus.
It's like the headstone of Louisiana, essentially. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess I didn't even think of that. So Nacogdoches is also Louisiana's oldest permanent settlement in the area of the Louisiana Purchase. And the campus itself lies within about 33 block it's like a national historic landmark district is where the univer of Natchitoches is where the university sits, and it reflects the French and Creole colony heritage of the city.
I would think the longest settled area would be like New Orleans or something like that, like the French coming in first, but shows how much I know.
um that is correct, as far as that shows how much you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I guess we can. I must have had this fun fact buried in, but I mean, guys can probably guess here. But the two cities in which Stephen F. Austin and Northwestern State reside were originally settlements of the Caddo um, tribes. So that's probably why. So
Okay, gotcha.
it's counting that as far as like
Gotcha.
tribes, not necessarily like European settlers.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, it makes sense. They were here first. So, yeah,
Yes,
there you go.
so they would have not necessarily been so dependent on being near water.
Right. Right.
And the city is well known for having an annual Christmas festival, also called
Ooh,
the Festival of Lights, with hundreds of thousands of lights on the riverfront. So it's also along a river.
nice. Would
Yeah.
that be the Mississippi River that's along or no?
It actually is. I knew you were going to ask this, and I didn't
Yeah.
include it. It is not the Mississippi. I can't remember. I want to say it was maybe the Cane River.
Okay.
Um,
I'm
but
I'm very, very much I'm scrolling through Instagram looking at all the Christmas festivals coming up. Very excited to get out to a nice Christmas market or something. Ever since we talked about in the last episode up in Michigan, I am eager to get myself to a Christmas village here soon.
yeah, I was just talking to my dad and stepmom about Thanksgiving and being in Michigan. And last year, um, we stayed for Black Friday and came home on Saturday, and we're planning on doing that again. But last year we went to like this huge outlet mall in kind of near where I grew up for Black Friday, which is just chaos. So this year there was a newer building, actually along the skyline, like a skyscraper in Detroit that was just finished. And Joe had sent me an Instagram video that showed that they had like a little Christmas market. I mean, they had Christmas
Yeah.
markets and they have like an annual tree and a nice skating rink similar to Market Square in or PPG, whatever that is downtown here. Um, so I think we're actually going to check that out. So just in the
Nice.
spirit of the Christmas market,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, we're going to check that out on Black Friday this year.
Gotta get your Christmas marketplaces in. Yeah.
Okay, why don't we go to Stephen F. Austin? Can you pronounce what city they reside in?
I mean, I would say so. Nakatosh. Uh, I'm gonna say n n
Not gonna work
not
here
gonna
anymore.
not gonna not gonna work here anymore. Uh, well, I would say Nacogdoches, but I'm gonna say Nacogdoches.
Okay. Reminder: we are in Texas now.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
so it is.
Nacogdoches. Yeah, well, but still, it's close to Louisiana, so I'm guessing there may be some of the influence there.
Uh,
I don't know.
these are very. I'm not teasing you because clearly I know the answer, but I had to look at it. And when you look at both of them, how they're written, you would think you would pronounce
Same
them
people.
similarly.
Yeah,
You don't.
not
So
even close. Why would
Nakatosh
you?
and Nacogdoches or Nacogdoches. Oh, yeah, Nacogdoches. So they do the
Nacogdoches,
Douches more like you would think it would be, like Hispanic
of
reading.
course.
And Louisiana, they just go like ush, like just tush. Um,
Nacogdoches,
and honestly, if you have like the
Nacogdoches.
Creole accent and more of a French accent, I'm making it sound pretty Northwestern or
Oh
not
well,
Northwestern,
Northeastern,
Midwestern. So
Midwestern,
yeah,
Northeastern, whatever.
Yeah, I'm making it sound not as authentic as clearly people that live in the town, but yeah, they do pronounce it different. So this is Nacogdoches. Yeah, Nacogdoches. So the university, Stephen F. Austin, was chartered in 1917, but opened in 1923 as a teachers' college as well, which is kind of an interesting tie to between both schools. It houses the nationally recognized Arthur Temple College of Forestry and Agriculture, one of only two forestry schools in Texas, and the only one in the timber-rich East Texas region where it's located. So this is about, if you think Houston is east, this is north of Houston, and I guess that would mean College Station as well. That's right. I wonder how close they are to each other. The university serves as a hub for rural serving higher education in its region. And it's described as the only major university in the deep East Texas multi-county region, and has been named the number one Texas rural serving institution of its size. So very important. It plays a pretty important role in its region when it comes to higher education.
Lots of surveys need to be done in Texas. That is for sure. Land surveys. A lot of land.
Not like people surveys,
Yeah,
census
not
surveys.
even like no, not even close at all to people surveys because with people surveys you're talking to people.
Yeah,
With land surveys, you're
talking land.
surveying land.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the primary difference there is people versus the earth.
Got it. Geography.
Yeah,
Um,
geography show. Yeah, yeah.
so Nacogdoches is often cited as the oldest town in Texas, and it was founded circa 1779 under Spanish settlement. So again, while they have the area has evidence of human settlement going back 10,000 years, which is closer to like the Caddo indigenous people. The even as a city, like as a settlement, it was circa, like I said, 1779 because it was under Spanish rule.
Yeah, see, never would have guessed that. I would have guessed something closer to, the Mexico border.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And its historic downtown features brick streets, preserved architecture, and a rich colonial kind of Spanish heritage, obviously, because we just mentioned that. And it also has a major celebration around azaleas and fall foliage.
Oh, that
It's
sounds lovely.
sometimes called the azalea capital of Texas.
That sounds lovely. Sounds like a lovely place. Very
It is.
picturesque.
It does sound it, and the two the two cities are actually pretty close to each other too, and I think they're, if I remember correctly, in some of the folklore we'll get to in a little bit, I think they're equidistant from the border, which is interesting.
Oh,
So one,
gotcha.
yeah, I think they're both exactly whatever it is, 70 miles or something, east and west of the border.
Wow.
Hmm.
That is interesting.
Which, like I said, kind of leads into some folklore about the two cities.
Right, right. Yeah.
But much like last week, I think it's appropriate for us to just get right into the trophy and then kind of go talk about the history
Let's do
from
it.
there. So why don't you scroll down and tell us what this bad boy looks like?
Let's do it. Oh, quite a bit of stroll. Oh yeah, there we go. I mean, yeah. Cigar store Indian, pretty much there. Native American, what have you. This fella, this looks like Native American straight out of Miami Vice. I mean, it is a pure white uh outfit that this gentleman has on. He looks mighty pissed. He's got his arms like kind of crossed, but he's also got his hands kind of like under his arms, kind of like oh, this is gonna be super disrespectful, but this it's like in Superstar with who's the chicken superstar? What's her name?
Molly Shannon?
Yeah, Molly Shannon, how she sticks her hands under her armpits when she's nervous.
Hmm.
That's the kind of stance that he's got going on right now. He has a big like emblem and then a brilliant rainbow colored headdress. Think of like Chicago Blackhawks when we think of like the colors there. Oh, big boy, big boy. Oh wow, lightning bolts. I didn't see that. Lightning bolts on the breast as well. Big gold medallion, huge. I mean, he's standing in the middle of a group of football players and towering over them. So I mean, this thing has got to be with the headdress like 8 feet tall, probably. Just getting carried off the field. Um, pissed off look on his face though. Uh, yeah, beautiful. Yeah, he's not happy. He's not happy to have his culture appropriated for football. I'll tell you that. He is not happy about it, even a little bit happy about it.
Yeah, no.
Um, it's just so funny to watch, to look at these Northwestern State cheerleaders just super happy to hang out with him, and he's just not having it. He's like, you colonizing motherfuckers.
I
Like,
mean, the
get me.
forehead has like the wrinkles, right?
Oh
Like
yeah, he's got
he's scrunched
one,
up.
two, three, four, five. Yeah. Oh my gosh, he is. I tell you what, it's a little haunting. I'll be honest, looking at it, it's a little unsettling. Uh, oh yeah, he is not happy. Not happy even a little bit. Yeah.
So this info comes from Northwestern State's website, and Chief Caddo is the world's largest sports trophy,
Really?
standing at 7 foot 6 inches
Okay, so I was
and
close there, yeah.
weighing over 320 pounds.
Now, is Floyd heavier?
I thought Floyd was 100 pounds.
Okay. How about our ribs though? The ribs were the
Like
bones?
still not over two. I don't know if we've talked about one that's been over 200 yet. We've had a lot like in between 100 and because I feel like 100 is usually like a good threshold because that's like where you start to get like tough for some one person to lift.
Yeah. I tell you
So,
what though, I would be shocked if next week's episode isn't heavier. Just from what I've seen. There's no
how
way
have
that
you already looked ahead, Mike?
well, I know what's on the docket for next week. I've been waiting for this episode for years now. So like I know what's on the docket, but like
Ugh.
I have to think that that sucker's it took four people to carry it when I saw it. So wow, but three okay, so 7'6", 320. Could have taken on the Undertaker back in the
Yeah,
day or Kevin
yeah,
Nash. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I would have towered over Nash. Nash was built just at 7 feet tall, so he's a little south of that. Dead Man was too.
So there was like some mixed reporting on like so his size was pretty like the 7 foot 6, 320 pounds was pretty consistent, but there was a few reports and some of them dating back to when he was actually like created that initially he was closer to 8 foot and 400 pounds and that the wood just kind of lost moisture and I which I could understand would like change the weight. I don't know how that I
Bring
mean
the
I
height
guess you
down by
could
6 inches. That seems significant.
yeah, so that's why I'm not sure quite about that, and that's why I just stuck with like the 7 foot 6, because that seemed to be like I said, pretty consistent. But there
Yeah,
were some rumors, some lore out there that he was actually closer to 8 foot and 400 pounds when he was first
that's
carved.
that's like fight billing though. You get the rumors that they're that's like yeah WWE billing. Like I said, I mean Nash was built at 7, but I think he's actually 6'10" or something like that.
Of
So they
course.
gave him the bump. So
Well, in 1960, the universities began this tradition when they agreed to commission a statue of a mythical Native American chief whose tribe was settled in locations that later became English-speaking communities of Natchitoches and Nacogdoches. Um, and the purpose was to pay tribute to the Native Americans who not only first settled the region, but actually provided safety for early white settlers in the area. Historians say that if not for the Caddo tribe, the Spanish and French colonists who came to the region would not have survived onslaughts from the Apache or the Comanche
always the
warriors from the
case.
west. Yeah.
Yeah.
or the Natchez from the east. So yeah, basically they went smack dab in the middle of some like really ferocious tribes, and were very fortunate to find like the one friendly tribe.
Well, that's why you don't hear about the settlers that landed with the Apaches or the Natchez, right? Like
Yeah,
they're gone,
yeah,
dusted. So
yeah. Whoops, went to the
yeah,
wrong ones.
yeah, chose poorly there.
Yeah, should have went somewhere colder.
Yeah.
Um, Also, the French and Spanish writers of the era reported that Caddo chiefs were master diplomats who made it possible for the two European colonists to live as as neighbors, while their mother nations were at war against each other. So they even even when the French and Spanish were like, "Hey, we call dibs," they were even able to be diplomatic
That's
between those
pretty
two.
impressive.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah, yeah. So the trophy history itself. So under this agreement, they came together, the two schools, in 1960, and said that they wanted this trophy, and they both agreed and had that idea. And they also, under that agreement, based on the results of the 1961 football game, the losing school would have to chop down a tree from one of its nearby forests, and while the winning school would receive the log and carve the statue from it. So that was kind of
Okay.
part of the agreement. So
I
Northwestern
like
State
that.
won in 1961, 35-19. So then Stephen F. Austin delivered a 2,000-pound black gum log to Northwestern State, and the wood carver and also chainsawist. Is that what it was? A chainsaw machinist. I think that was the correct term. His name was Harold Green, and he spent around 230 hours fashioning this
He just
statue.
sounds like the right guy for the job, doesn't he? Harold Green. Like he sounds like
Yeah.
he's the chainsaw machinist that was born for this, really.
Yep.
And
Louisiana.
will
Yep.
manifest destiny there. Yeah, and
Yep.
that's the way it should have been done, right? The lumberjack should be the one to hew the tree
Hmm.
and then share it with the folks at Northwestern to get the job done. Yeah, that seems right. Like
Yeah.
that's how it should have happened.
And as to, and I kind of alluded to this, so this is where we get to a bit of the folklore between the cities themselves. So the heritage of Natchitoches and Nacogdoches. There was some questions about how the cities, like I had mentioned, each the oldest settlement in their states, got their names, their English-speaking names. So both versions agree that an Indian chief with two sons sent one to settle the east and one to settle the west. And they traveled the same distance and established villages. So that's agreed upon. But there is a bit of folklore that's a little bit in question.
So it is factually agreed upon that the chief sent two of his sons, one east, one west. So that's how they ended up. Some more names,
Yes.
same distance apart from the line.
Yes.
That's how that happened. Okay.
With more indigenous sounding names, right, of
Yes.
the towns
Okay.
too. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So the folklore that's in question. So one version, as reported by historian Samuel Stuart Mims in Rio Sabinus, credits the chief of an Adai Indian village on the Sabine River. So the village was overpopulated, and the chief ordered his two grown sons to report to him precisely at sunrise. He told one son to walk east, the other to walk west until the very moment of sunset. The sons were to establish the village at the place they reached, and the son who went east wound up in a grove of pawpaw trees, and he named his village Nacogdoches, meaning pawpaw. The westbound son reached a grove of persimmon trees. Persimmon? Yeah, trees. Named his village Nacogdoches, meaning persimmon. And there's no documentation, but there are paw trees in Nacogdoches and persimmon trees in and Natchitoches, excuse me, and then persimmon trees and Nacogdoches. So that's how that's one specific version of that original agreed
Hmm.
upon
Gotcha.
story. The other version is that the chief had twin sons named Nacogdoches and Natchitoches and couldn't decide which one would succeed him. So he split the tribe between them and sent them in different directions. And they traveled for 3 days, one eastbound, one westbound, and wound up in the cities that they're located today.
That second one sounds a little more far-fetched just
Right.
because why would you split everyone up like that?
Yeah.
Just back in the day, that doesn't make sense. Going and exploring perhaps, but I don't know. I don't know how they did things.
Don't know.
I don't know.
It is intriguing to note that both Nacogdoches and Nacogdoches are virtually, like we had been talked about, equidistant from the Toledo Bend. Um, so yeah, it is pretty crazy though when you think about it. So regardless of how the story is, the fact that they were both able to get like exactly the same distance in however amount of time that they took to get to where they wanted and to settle. That's yeah, pretty interesting. So then you have this rivalry, you have this trophy from the 60s onwards, and then we hit 2019. So that's what the tradition continued all the way until then. But the formal announcement won. So you had this tradition where
Hold
it
on, time out,
ended.
time out, time out. Your video froze for like 10 seconds there. Can you just back it up right when
Okay.
you said that's where it ends and then
Okay.
start over?
Okay. So you have 2019.
Yes.
This
20.
this was the last time that Chief Caddo was exchanged.
Yes.
However, it was not a formal announcement that that would be the case was not made until 2021. So you're wondering, how did that happen?
How did that
So,
happen?
and Stephen F. Austin won the game in 2019, and therefore they retained the trophy until the next matchup,
Hmm.
which was expected to be the following year
Right.
until COVID. So
Right.
you had COVID happened, and Stephen F. Austin did play football games. Northwestern State did not that year. So again, no big deal. The understanding would just be next time they played each other, trophy would be in use. However, a letter dated November 16th, 2020, from Tamara M. Francis, the chairman of the Caddo Nation of Oklahoma, and was like released on April 19th, 2021. So you had this letter that was backdated for 2020, but wasn't like announced to the public and everyone else until 2021,
Hmm.
when the Northwestern State Student Government Association resolution both requested that the tradition be discontinued. And it was unclear when exactly the decision was made. And I don't know that they ever formally released like the exact reason why, but like clearly there's a lot of speculation that isn't going to be too far off. But some of that would be just the factors that led to this would be the sensitivity around the region's Native American population, along with the NCAA's emphasis on eliminating mascots and traditions with some considered demeaning. Um, and then the issue apparently quietly drew some pretty serious consideration, even like a decade before that, during the Northwestern State's longest serving president, Dr. Randy Webb. So there's even some quiet things of, I think, starting to ask whether or not it was still appropriate to have a trophy similar to that. And then I feel like the nail in the coffin there was when you had nearby universities like Arkansas State and the University of Louisiana Monroe, got rid of their Indian and Native American mascots. And then obviously you have some, prominent professional sports franchises like the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians, that also got rid of theirs. So it's kind of that perfect storm. And, obviously 2020 was more than just, COVID. A lot of, like you said, woke culture kind of came alive there, and Chief Caddo was a
I
victim
mean, just
of it.
he's not happy about it. He clearly, if you take one look at him,
Yeah.
he's not super thrilled to be getting passed around like this. So,
He was actually the one that wrote the letter in
yeah,
2020. It
yeah,
says the
it
Caddo Nation of
would
Oklahoma,
not put
but
past him. Yeah.
it was actually him. And what's also interesting is that officials at Stephen F. Austin, so they were the ones that won it last, told Chris Mykoski of ESPN Plus. I think this article was written like around that time, like 2021, that the statue was no longer even on display and it was in storage.
So this thing's sitting in storage somewhere.
Yeah. So, this, like, especially in this 2021, this really led to just a lot of uncertainty with the football game as well, like just the schools, the
Yeah.
rivalry, the trophy. Because in spring of 2021, Stephen F. Austin withdrew from the Southland Conference to join the Western Athletic Conference, and so this rivalry was all of a sudden off the schedule.
Damn.
I know. Well, but they did have the former Northwestern State University athletic director Greg Burke and his counterpart at Stephen F. Austin, Ryan Ivey. They at least came to an agreement to resume the series in 2023 with a game in Nacogdoches, and then in 2025 a meeting in Nacogdoches. Um, but it ain't over.
Oh, all right.
So in 2024, the two universities announced that along with Stephen F. Austin's return to the South End Conference, the rivalry would continue, but with a new trophy.
I was gonna say this is, I was gonna say EJ. I was gonna. This is like great parallelism between these two schools. Like you gotta have something. If you can't have, the angry Kevin Nash Indian chief, which can you imagine being like a janitor or someone working at Steve F. Austin and like you're in a storage room
Yeah,
late at night and you just
yeah,
turn a corner and you see that guy?
yeah.
It's shit your
Or
pants.
just imagine being like the head coach and, trying to be like, yeah, this is a good recruiting piece. Let me put it in my office. A lot of coaches do that, but
Yeah.
a lot of coaches don't have an 8 foot
No.
Angry Native American
Would
staring
be
through their
awful hard
soul.
to churn film looking at that. Although so sometimes your team's playing like shit, you're looking at Chief Caddo like, I know this
Yeah,
is what this
yeah,
means.
fuck it. Yeah, I know.
So drag him into the film room with the guys and be
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
just point to him every time someone misses a play.
Yeah.
You think Chief Caddo's happy about what's happening
Right.
on that
Yeah.
field?
He thinks this is a bunch of
Despicable.
bullshit.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
Okay, good.
the new trophy, which will be called the Chief, has the same 7'6", 300-pound dimensions as the original that was
Yes.
commissioned in 1960. Um, it is so. Why don't I actually have you? So, as you've guessed now, I have a graphic for you. This trophy has not been created yet, so it was announced in 2024, and you'll kind of get a reason why it's not quite finished yet. But I do have a graphic that shows the idea behind it. So why don't you describe kind of what you're
So I
seeing
can
here?
scroll where it says don't scroll, I can scroll.
Yes, now you can scroll.
Okay. Okay. So we get okay. So wow, this is nice. Um so there's a 2 foot tall pole, metal pole, and then they're gonna put on that a pine tree, looks like a live bark pine tree, that's 30 inches in diameter and 7 inches tall. And then on top of that, they're gonna place this massive trophy, which the back of it, it's gonna be purple on top, it's gonna be yellow on the bottom. The back of it looks like it's gonna have like the scores of each game. Like the top is maybe Northwestern score, and the bottom is Steve F. Austin's score. It'll say the Chief on the bottom and the top, and then you flip it around, and then it's gonna have a giant battle or a giant lumberjack axe on top for Steve F. Austin, and the bottom's gonna have a pitchfork
Hmm.
for the Demons for Northwestern State. Uh, that rules, folks. That rules. And I'm guessing the reason that this hasn't been created yet is they're going to do the same type of thing where the loser chops down the tree and then the winner builds the trophy. Is that what's going to happen here?
Um, no, but that's something they
That
definitely should.
I mean, yeah.
So yes, so this is going, everything you described is correct. The one thing I will, well, I guess both officials decided to retire it, so this new one will be designed by chainsaw artist Della Meredith. And as you mentioned, um, it's going to be 7 foot 6 inches, just like the last one. It's a pine tree. And what you what isn't clear here is that the winning school will be able to have their logo facing upwards. So they will literally take this God knows how heavy log off of that pole and flip it on its head if their team wins.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That's going to be a scene.
Yeah.
That is going to be an absolute scene on the field. That's awesome.
So
Big fan.
the announcement. This is the announcement
Big
from the
fan.
two presidents. So Northwestern State's president James T. Genovese, which I'm sure has a much more Louisiana and French way to pronounce it, and Stephen F. Austin State University's president Dr. Neil Weaver. They made this joint announcement. So they said, in quotes, while the name and the design of the trophy will change, the great tradition endures. We have a wonderful relationship and a strong rivalry with our good friends at Stephen F. Austin. So this is coming from Northwestern State's president. And this simply opens a new and exciting chapter to be enjoyed for generations to come. And then Stephen F. Austin's president said, we are excited to renew the rivalry and begin a new tradition with the redesigned traveling trophy. For decades, our universities have battled for bragging rights on the football field each fall in a game that we anticipate year round. It generates not only a sense of pride in the outcome of the game, but also pride in our common ground and the outstanding accomplishments of our students, faculty, staff, and alumni. So it wasn't explicitly said that this is what's keeping like holding it up, but I imagine this is probably it. That the universities have engaged the Caddo Nation leadership regarding plans to add a piece designed by the nation for the trophy. So they're going to have some sort of additional piece that goes on this that is going to just, be designed specifically from the Caddo Trophy. And the piece will do to honor the indigenous people that settled those two areas before the universities were there.
Love it. I mean, that's great. I enjoy it. Yeah, awesome. Well done. Good job, guys.
Yeah. And
Very good
that's all I
job.
got for you guys.
Very, very good job. That's hey, you know, that's what you do. Like that's what we said last week. Just 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 have the nickel. Just get rid of the one side of it. Just
Right.
put something else on it.
Yep.
Put a hawk on it. Whatever you gotta do. This is perfect. This is great.
Yep.
Good on them.
Instead of, just completely shifting to Lincoln's hat, you keep some remnants respectfully
Yeah.
of the original trophy.
Yeah. Love that. That's great.
No.
I love it. I love it.
So this game will be played next Thursday, so a week from today when this releases, at 7:30 p.m. This is going to be in Nacogdoches. I might be on ESPN Plus. I don't know. There wasn't anything to mention that, like, to signify that the trophy would be ready like now for this game. So I imagine it won't be, but I can't imagine it will take too much longer. I would guess it would be probably done by next year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I would assume so. Wow. Awesome. Very good. Well, watch the game. Keep an eye out. Maybe the
keep an
trophy
eye.
is ready. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll see.
Both teams are purple, which is interesting. It is an interesting
Yeah.
fact. So that I don't know what that's going to look like jersey wise. Um, I hope that someone has like a throwback to wear or something, because purple on white and white on purple will probably be pretty confusing. But hey,
It looks like Northwestern State has some orange accents
okay,
in there. So
okay.
yeah, I don't know. I don't
So maybe
know.
they have like a white with like orange and
Well, yeah, because their half of the trophy is orange. So,
yeah.
uh,
Why? Because they're both purple and they couldn't do
yeah,
purple.
right. Yeah. Still, it's strange for Steve F. Austin to just, all right, well, we're purple. Like when it's just from everything I can tell, Northwestern State is where are their unions looking like now?
I have no idea.
Well, their seal is all purple. Tell you that. Yeah, the seal is entirely purple. Uh,
Oh, okay. Yeah, they almost look like Auburn's purples.
oh, like or Clemson's purples.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry, Clemson's. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
looks like to me. Now, I was like, what? Where have I seen that before?
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah. It's
like this
Clemson's
looks
purples.
familiar to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the Clemson purples, where it's primarily purple with some orange accents.
Purple and orange, underrated combo. Phoenix Suns, Northwestern State.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
So that's going to do it for us this week. Follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Well, I was gonna like have this as a huge lead up, but Mike, I did not know that you just had this next one circled. But guys, this is gonna be next week will be our penultimate trophy. Or the season's almost done. I feel like it was just August and we were so excited. We had grand plans of a whiteout and all this fun stuff, and now we're looking down the barrel of the season being done.
It's been a great season though. This
It
is one of those
has.
seasons that like I feel like both with the trophies and with the product on the field, this is one where I finish, I'm like, that feels good. Like I feel like I feel like there's still a lot left too. I feel like there's a
Yeah,
lot that still is in the tank,
for sure.
It's been a very fulfilling season though. Some of them you get to November, you're like, where did it all go? Where did it all go? But no, this has been a very fulfilling season.
And sorry for all the listeners because I still have not said like if for the person that's like waiting like at the end of the episode like okay yeah what is the next trophy just so I know I still haven't said it. So join us next week when we talk about our penultimate trophy, the Brawl of the Wild. For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.